So another question we often get from partners is how to maximize participation in their family engagement programs. We're all here because we know family engagement is a fundamental component of student success and school improvement. But we also know there are a lot of barriers that can prevent families from participating in the programs and events we plan. Some types of high quality programs that schools offer for parents are hard for families to access. For example, family workshops can be really engaging, but they tend to attract families who have the extra time and mobility to attend an in-person event. And research shows that dropout rates in school-based programs like these can be as high as 50%. It's often the parents who could benefit the most from support who drop out. So this is why we designed our parent-powered family workshops to include a variety of different ways for families to participate, either in person or virtually. In other cases, signing up for programs presents a barrier to access for families. So there was an interesting recent study out of Columbia and Harvard where researchers invited parents to sign up for a text messaging program by either responding to a text or enrolling online. Less than 10% of the parents who were invited to the program actually signed up. And not surprisingly, the parents who chose to enroll tended to have higher achieving children, tended to already be more engaged with their kids' education. On the other hand, a different group of parents was automatically signed up for the program, and 96% of them remained enrolled, representing a much more diverse set of families and students. So this study offers one insight into how to maximize participation, make it really easy. And there's a few other strategies we use when working with partners around the country to maximize their families' participation in our programs. And I want to say these tips are relevant for any kind of family engagement program you're rolling out, whether that's a digital program like ours or an in-person event like a family workshop. So the first tip is to make sure that your families know when a new program is coming their way. No one should be surprised by their first Ready for K message. The top reason that families tell us they opt out of our program is that they don't remember signing up to receive the messages. And the majority of opt-outs happen in the first month or so after families are enrolled. So you can address both of these concerns by making sure all families know about the program before it launches. In your dashboard, you can find flyers in multiple languages that you can share with your families to let them know about the program. You can send these over email or text. You can print them out and send them home. Hang them around your school in places that families will see them, send them on social media. We've also had partners use automated phone calls to let families know about the program or presentations at family events like back to school night. If you need any additional resources to get the word out to your families, just let us know and we're always happy to help you out. So when it comes to telling your families about a new program or opportunity, it's important to align the way you describe it to what you know they care about. So first and foremost, we know families want their children to thrive. So you might position Ready for K as a tool for helping them support their child's success. And you can draw on any specific information you have from your family. So this is a great opportunity to let them know you've listened to their feedback, like we discussed earlier with surveys. So for example, you might say, in last year's survey, families shared that they wanted to know more about what their children are learning at school. Ready for K will give you insight into the skills your child is building in each grade level and how you can support those at home. So this lets families know that you're listening to them, and it shows them that this new resource is going to help them with something that they care a lot about. Now, parents have a lot going on, so repetition is your friend here. Make sure to give them multiple different opportunities to learn about new programs. Not just multiple channels like I mentioned earlier, but also multiple times throughout the year. Back to school is a super busy time of year for everyone. So why not follow up a couple months later when things have settled down a bit to remind them about this great resource that's available? And if your school or district is focused, let's say, on literacy for a particular month, you could include a note about how Ready for K fits in and maybe even include one of the family resources from our dashboard. And as you remind families about Ready for K throughout the year, you can also remind them how to opt back in if they want to re-enroll. And finally, I want to encourage you to dig into your data and be on the lookout for any trends in who is participating in your family engagement activities. Are your Spanish speakers participating at higher rates? Are you struggling to engage your fourth grade families? Look for opportunities to re-engage specific groups, aligning with what you know matters most to them. Now, in general, we see very high persistence rates amongst families enrolled in our programs. While they vary by organization, most of our partners see at least 80% of their families remain enrolled in the program. So we don't expect 100% of families to remain enrolled, but the persistence rates we see are much higher than other family engagement programs like the ones I mentioned earlier. And that's really saying something because we also want to make sure that every family knows how to opt out of the program if they don't want to participate. So when families are enrolled, the very first message they receive from us is our welcome message that lets them know what to expect, how to make changes to their program, and how to opt out if they don't want to receive messages. If they reply stop, we immediately opt them out of all future messages and we send them a confirmation to let them know they've been opted out. In that confirmation, we also let them know they can opt back in by just texting start at any point in the future. And we include a survey so we can better understand why families are leaving the program. So if you're curious to know more about opt-outs for your family specifically, there are a couple ways to dig into this data in your dashboard. So over on the data and analytics page at the very top, you'll see your enrollment over time. And if you hover over any point in this graph here, you can see your total enrollments at that point in time, as well as your enrollments broken down by their status. So you can see here in purple the number of families who have opted out of the program at that point in time. And if you'd like to understand which of your families are opting out, you can find all those details in your data download. So you just click download data in the upper right, and you'll get a spreadsheet with all of your current enrollment data. So this first sheet in your spreadsheet shows all of your active enrollments. So if you're interested in learning more about families who've opted out, you just hop over to the opt-out sheet at the bottom. And here you'll see a full list of families who've opted out of the program. For each one, you can see the date they were enrolled, as well as the date they opted out. And you can see how many days they participated in the program before opting out. And this is important because families can opt out at any point in the program. If they opt out on day one, then you probably don't want to count them as having participated. But if they opt out after 6 months of messages, that's a significant amount of content they received. And we don't want to ignore the fact that they were probably reading and acting on those messages for months before choosing to leave. So you can see the same information for families whose phone numbers have stopped working, and also for those who have aged out of the program in the different tabs down below. You can also turn on filters and filter this data by language, by age, or zip code if you're interested in exploring patterns and opt-outs across your different groups of families. So to recap this section, we talked about how hard it can be to get families to participate in programs, especially in-person events, programs that they have to sign up for. We discussed some tips for encouraging participation in parent-powered programs, as well as your other family engagement programs. And we dove into how to find and interpret your Ready4K opt-out data.